Oh, hello, hello. I have just begun the live. It is day 3 of Vlogmas. Anybody out there who's also doing it, keep at it. We are just getting started. There is, what, 10 times more of these. No, maybe it's only until the 25th, not the 30th. So we are almost there, not even close. We just started. So one of the things that wanted to make sure to talk about right off the bat is how this all came about. This entire experience, I just heard about it last week, and just being able to have multiple challenges under my belt this year, I wanted to like push myself to do something that I'm not used to doing. And I haven't been putting myself online as much recently. And so to be able to find another platform to be able to, really challenge myself, push myself. So that's why I'm here. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that I had the opportunity to look back at the rest of the year and be able to document it in a certain way. And hopefully I could look back at these and there's some messages, some ideas. When I did the April National Poetry Month, that's what happened. Sometimes when I'm going through some stuff, like I'm having some challenges in my days and I'm worried about certain things, I'm like overwhelmed. I'll actually go back to April and be like, hey, what was going on around this time of the month in April, and then I'll usually find a poem or something. Just like yesterday, I found a random poem from that month that like told me and exactly what it is that I needed to hear. And it's amazing it makes me feel really empowered, really strong, and feel like I'm on the right path if I'm able to not only have written that like myself, but also be able to have some type of like, I guess, serendipitous randomness that I'm holding that specific poem in my hands and I'm like, whoa, this is telling me the messages, right? So that's what happened yesterday, which was great. And I'm gonna actually do that again today a little bit later. A couple things that I wanted to do today too. I have some poems that I'm actually gonna be doing for the Human Rights Film Festival on Saturday. So that's gonna be such an amazing event. It's hosted by Britta B and Desiree, and both of them are just amazing poets. And I remember running into Desiree at Rise Poetry, and they were like, "Oh my gosh!" Like when I first started, like I looked up to you so much, and and it's like amazing to hear people who have come so far. She ended up winning like the National Poetry Slam, like her team like last year or a couple years ago, and just to be able to see that like people that talented look up to me, and like that just means so much to me as an artist. That's what it's all about. We want to be able to inspire the next generation. And one of the things that I always do my best in is really push people to connect to their most authentic self. Myself and my friend Annie have a show on Instagram actually called the Anto and Annie Authentic, and that's what it's all about. It's about pushing ourselves to actually use online media to be able to be our whole selves and not just putting on a show and not just being what it is that we think people want us to be online, and that happens a lot in the edits, and that's one of the things that I love about live is just being able to be present, taking in like my whole day that I had before, what it is that I'm about to walk into for the rest of the night, like I usually am a night owl as well. So that's why I really enjoy like the 11:30. And also like 11:30 is such a special time for me too. Like Saturday Night Live back in the day, me and my brother used to like watch that all the time. Shout out to my brother, who it's going to be his birthday on Sunday, by the way. And we used to watch Saturday Night Live all the time during specifically the Will Ferrell era. And just like I remember him, Will Ferrell in the hot tubs, and he just always burst out laughing because they'd be like talking really dirty and so it was such a funny character that he had. Hi, Annie. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Annie too. She's the one who told me. I just told you guys about that. But yeah, it's been pretty sweet to be able to think about my brother too. We filmed a video yesterday. My mom did it like in one shot. It was like amazing to watch. She's just like, okay, I'm gonna do it. She like wrote it out. And then she like got it like after, well, she did one and then the second one actually. And it was like perfect. And I was like, wow, like, and she did such a great job. And then I ended up doing it and I perform all the time. I'm always in front of cameras and that kind of stuff. And it took me like 3 tries. And after the third one, I was like, oh my God, do I have to record this again? But the general gist of what I talked about, just a big shout out to my brother. He's 3 years older than me. And he's had such like an amazing couple years. And his wifey and him, they are about to have a kid on January 3rd. And that's like so crazy. Like it's so special. And yeah, so it's his birthday on Sunday. And yeah, I always looked up to him. I have like multiple stories, like so many stories about him that I would love to share. And one of them that I always laugh at and am embarrassed by, but that's why I tell it, because it's so funny to like, is he used to be known as the King of Marvel. That's what the kids, he was like, this was grade 6. He was grade 6, I was grade 4. The kids like would go up to him and be like, what are we supposed to trade with these cards? Like, and they would like keep all these cards, and then they didn't have like internet back. We didn't really have internet back then. So like he would look through all the wizards. That's what, and he would know the values of the cards, or like know which ones were more rare and that kind of stuff. And then so they knew him as the King of Marvel, and they all like ran up to him and were like, "You're the King of Marvel! Oh my God!" And they're all like revering him and thinking he's like, he knew everything about Marvel cards and comics and everything like that. And then so in grade 7, well, him in grade 7, he left our school. He went to another school. So after that, people started calling me the Prince of Marvel, right? And I like, instead of me being like, yeah, I'm gonna research it and I'm gonna be like uphold this type of like awesomeness that he had, instead of doing that, I just lied to people and just made it so that my friends would have better trades, and then we would like trade, like they would give me some of the, I'd be like, yeah, you should trade that one card for like 4 of them. Yeah, that one's really valuable. That's what, oh yeah, and then they would trade, and then they would give me half of it. Like, and after a while, people started realizing that I was like just helping my friends, and then they stopped doing that to me. And so I like literally destroyed this legacy that he had. Oh, I was such a terrible kid. Oh, that's so fun. I don't tell that very often because it doesn't put me in like the best light, right? It makes me look like an idiot or a bad person. But I was a kid, right? Like, so I was just trying to like look at for number one and all my friends, you know? So it was just pretty like crazy though, thinking about like how far he's come like in the last couple of years. Like, you know, he used to party a lot and that kind of stuff. And then he met Vivian, his wife, and it's like amazing to see. She was like so special. Like when my grandma passed, like she was actually at the door, like greeting everybody and giving them love. And like now to know that that love that this is based on is like connecting, and then they get to have a child. Like, I'm so excited. It's gonna be a boy as well. I'm like, what? This is so crazy. I know my brother's gonna try and train him to play video games. That's what he's always talked about. He's like, I'm gonna like make the kids so good at video whenever I have a kid and stuff. So I'm a little worried about that. We'll see how that training go. The regiment's gonna be really intense. But it's gonna be on right in the new year. So that's one of the reasons why my mom is visiting as well. She's coming down and helping them out, and you know, being there to support them and stuff like that. And it's such a special time. And his birthday on Sunday is really amazing to know too, because one of the things I said in the video was just like how grateful I am for like all the support, you know, that he always gives me. Like earlier in the year, in February, I did like this huge show in the theater, and we had to like sell tickets and that kind of stuff. And him and his friends came out, and he brought like a bunch of friends, and like I'm not the best at selling tickets, right? So he was so good. He brought like, you know, 8 or 9 people or whatever, and it just made it so it was so much easier on me. I could focus on my like actual set and not just be worrying about that. And so I, you know, thanked him for that. And I also said to him, like, one of the things that makes me feel better is knowing that like him as my older brother, he will always be older than me. So that makes me feel better. I'll never be the old, like he'll be a geezer and I'll be like behind him. He'll always be a couple years older than me. So, you know, suck on that, oldie. So one thing that I wanted to talk about for my brother though, like before I move on to the next thing, is when we were kids, I remember this one incident. So I talked about my incident, and then I'm going to talk about his incident now. One time we were having a race, and then I was like sprinting like as fast, and he gave me a head start because he was like, there's no way you could beat me in a race. And I was like, well, give me a head start. You're like way bigger than me. So then he gave me a head start. And then so I like was like pretty fast, right? So I'm like sprinting so good, right? And we were getting to a spot, and then we had to turn around and then go back to the garbage bin that was in the park that we were in. So I'm like sprinting, and I'm like, you know, get to that spot, and he's like not even halfway. So I was like killing it. So then he ended up getting there like to the halfway point, and he turned back, and then while he finally caught up behind me, but he wasn't gonna win, so he pushed me. And then I ended up going flying and hitting, I don't know if you could see, there's like a scar right here, right beside my eye. He like pushed me, and then it was like a wooden garbage bin that was there, you know, the ones in the park. And my eye, like I turned and it like cut the corner of the eye. and then I was like bleeding everywhere, right? And everybody thought that I was like bleeding from my nose, but it was actually from my eye. And then they actually said that if it was over by like 1 inch, that like it was possible that this eye would have been like blinded. So right now I would be wearing an eye patch. Like that's like how intense that would have been. Or I guess I could have like one of those fake eyes. Those are pretty sweet actually. I've seen people with them and they take them out for like party tricks. Like that would be like, what? You're like hanging out, you're like, bleh, and you just put it in someone's drink. You know, it's like, what the hell? But yeah, so I thought it would be good to balance, you know, like we both fuck ups in a certain way. And but big shout out to him, happy birthday. I have so much love for him, and I always looked up to him and stuff like that. And at one point I realized that if I was just gonna keep copying him and being like him, like as much as I can, that I would just be like a shittier version of him. That's why I had to like, you know, go in my own path and do that kind of stuff. But I copied him probably till I was like 17, 18. I always just wanted to be like him. So I don't know if anybody else out there was like that too. If you're the second child, that's like how it is. You're just like, tell me what to do. It's like blindly following like an idiot. I know Annie is for sure the second child like that. And it's always so weird when you're in that situation. You're just like, yeah, I want to just like hang out with my brother more, so I'll just do the things that he's good at, you know? So that's pretty much how that was going. So the next segment that I want to do is I've done it a couple times already. I want to do it for the third day. I'm going to keep this going until it stops being fun for me. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I really like, oh yeah. Look at this turtleneck. This is random items I found in my grandmother's closet in bags. This is what this is. So here we go. nice sweater. There's a nice sweater there. Okay, cool. These ones didn't fit. I tried to put them on. Oh, Christmas colors. This is pretty nice. Anybody out there looking for Christmas colors? Yeah, this is it right here. Who wants this one? Okay, cool. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, look at this. This is a fancy one. It's like the same as the other one, but thinner. And it's like a turtleneck as well. Yeah, that's what we got here. Cool. I don't know if I'm going to try any of these on like yesterday, but whoa, we got pants that still have this tag on it. $9.99 medium. They look like stretchy pants. So I probably should try these on. These would be hilarious to try. These would be hilarious to try these on. I think I got to try these on right now, guys. I think that's what's happening. Gotcha. These are going to stretch so much, but I got to try these on right now. This is part of the fun of this. If I find something that would be interesting to try on. Oh my God, they're so tight. They're fitting though. They're fitting. Oh my God. Yo, I could wear these for when I'm going to do Christmas stuff. Look, Christmas stuff. Okay, I'm gonna wear these for the rest of the time for sure. All right, and our last one. I always like to do the bedazzled jewel ones. I always like to do the last. This one is super old school. If you're a gambler, this is great. There's like dice on it. There's dice, and it's like a sweater that has like shimmeriness on it. So that's what we got going on here. All right. So here we go. That's nice. Okay. And then I don't know. I feel like there should be one more. I want more bedazzled. More bedazzled, the better. Okay, here we go. We got an Alps geyser. I don't know what that is. Look at this. Whoa, this is a Christmas sweater for sure. Yo, am I gonna have to put this? Am I gonna go full red Christmas sweater? Oh my God, I think it's happening, guys. My mom upstairs, if she saw me trying out all these, my grandma's clothes. Look at this. Oh my God. Oh, this is so ridiculous. Oh, this is so fun. Oh man, so shimmery too. Look at this. This is definitely a Christmas sweater, guys. Ugly Christmas sweater. This is happening. I won't be able to wear this the rest of the time. I'm already sweating in this, but this one's hilarious. Okay. All right. So that was that segment, the random items from my grandma's closet. I've done that 3 days in a row now. It has not stopped being fun yet. Like I said, I'll only stop when this stops being fun. I'm going to keep doing them until that happens. But yeah, that's been like one of the highlights of these lives is being able to like also reminisce about my grandma. One of the things that she always used to say about me was like so cute, but also like so like confusing. She would walk up to me. She'd be like, 你細個嗰陣時咁靚仔，而家咁樣樣. And she would just walk away. Like she just walked up to me, and then what that means is, when you were a young boy, or when you were younger, you were so handsome, such a handsome boy. But now look at you. I was like, and she would just walk away, and then everybody would be like, and like, it's just so like, okay, there, sure. So, but one of the, that's what like how it was, like in Chinese culture, it was like they really didn't like beard and long hair, but she always loved me. Like I always enjoyed that. Like I come visit, and we would always just go out and to restaurants and stuff like that. And one of the things that she was the best for, she always made me feel like I was like a star. That's what it always was like. She would bring me somewhere, and then she'd be like, "Oh, this is my grandson, and he hosts weddings. If you ever have someone who's gonna need somebody to host their wedding, ask my grandson," and stuff like that. And be like, "Oh, this is my grandson. He's like a comedian, and he's so funny." And it's just like always bragging to like all the servers and stuff, and they're like so busy. It's like Chinese restaurants, like peak time, and it's just like so much going on. And then she's like, "Yeah, you gotta check his workout," and they're like, yeah, okay, cool. But she goes all the time, right? So they're always like trying to humor her and that kind of stuff. But she was such a badass too, because we go there with like our 13 like cousins and stuff like that, and then all the aunts and shit like that, and then big dim sum, all that stuff. This one time, she asked them for water and was like, "Hey, do you guys can you get water for all of the grandkids, because all of them enjoy like cold water, not the tea that they serve, right?" So then they're like, yeah, no problem. And then so she asked the server didn't bring it. Then she asked like the head of the servers, like whoever that the guy who wears the suit, but he like is still running things out or whatever, and then he forgot it. So she just got up from her seat, and then she just goes to the actual kitchen. You could just hear like the kitchen flap thing open or whatever, and then you could hear all the people talking inside, whatever. She just grabs like a tray and then just starts filling up waters herself, just like all of them. Then she comes back with a giant tray and of like the water, and then she gives it to all the kids. And then the head server dude was just like, "What? Oh, I'm so sorry that like we didn't get," and she's like, just like shoot him away, like you didn't do it, so get out of here, like it was just so good. Like she's just such a like takes control of the moment, like whatever needs to happen, she just brings it. That's like what's so special about her. So, and I guess now I'm just randomly putting on clothing items of hers that I'm finding from her closet. And also, like I said, anybody out there, I see Annie wants one of those sweaters, the solid colored turtlenecks and stuff, so I'll get those to you. But also anybody else out there who wants any of these clothes, you're welcome to contact me. I will send some of these over to you. This is gonna be so funny. We're gonna end up doing like a fashion show of all of the items. We're just gonna be wearing them. It'll be like grandma's like items, and just like loving her, in that way. But yeah, this is like my way of like honoring her, and like so appreciative of that. But yeah, as you can tell, like family is such a big part of my life, and that's one of the things that's so special. Like living, this is actually my grandma's home that I'm living in right now, and it's just been amazing. We're actually moving a bunch of stuff into here, and a lot of it's going to be my stuff from my last place that I lived in. So that's going to be crazy, because it's going to be like my old life kind of coming into my new life, and I'm going to have all of my stuff here, all of my my desk and my old bed, and like all the great stuff that like I've been missing that I've left at my aunt's house. We're moving it all back tomorrow. So that's been a little bit stressful, trying to like figure all that shit out. So yeah, that was like this whole week, man, like not to like quick change like the feelings of like what's going on. I know I'm like super hyped, and the adrenaline of like, sharing these amazing stories about my family and stuff. But like, man, like I've been like super stressed this week about this move. Like we were supposed to move on Monday, and then it was raining like all day. So we were like, oh, we're going to move it to Friday. And like it just extended the stress of it, like just having to rent the truck, organize like 3 other people to come down. We're going to go there, figure it all out. But man, like after it's going to be done, I'm going to be able to like breathe nice and like feel a lot better, and not like so like overwhelmed with it. So but yeah, it's just been like a lot this week. And one thing that has been really helpful, though, I'm going to I got to talk about this, was my dreams, like acknowledging my dreams. Like yesterday I spoke about a dream that like I was able to like cry in the dream, and like earlier in the day I was like, man, I need a really good cry. And then in the dream, I was crying, which was like crazy. It was like such a gift. And then like today, like I don't remember what the dream was, but I woke up and I just like felt so good. Like, and I felt so calm. I didn't feel like overwhelmed with like all the stresses that were coming. And I think that a part of that was due to knowing that I was going to be visiting the kids that I help with, and they were just so like today was my last day with them before the end of the year. So it was like I was really grateful for like earlier in the week. I was just like feeling super stressed, super overwhelmed. I have been still feeling like a bit of anxiety like throughout the week. It's just like one of the things I notice, it feels like anytime I'm like exhaling, I don't know, there's like this worry. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's like, am I going to be able to like take the next breath in and get air? Like, it feels like I'm running out of air. Like, so that's like part of the symptoms, I guess, that I've been feeling. And so this morning I woke up from like the dream and I wasn't feeling that right off the bat, like I had been in the last like week and a bit. So I was super grateful for that. I felt really good. And then, yeah, it was just super intense. Like I didn't know exactly where that's from. Yeah. So feeling that, right? And yeah, so this is like awesome because myself and Annie, we always do like lives on Instagram, and it's like through the chat, it's like we're able to chat like right away. She's like, yo, I got, so it's helpful because it feels like I'm actually having the conversation with her. I'm able to like open myself up to that and definitely be able to like be present with what it is that I'm experiencing and the challenges of that. Because I think that that's one of the things that I used to do a lot. So obviously you could tell like how hype I get about like my stories and like my family and, entertaining and that kind of stuff. But like, I never allowed myself to feel this. Like, this is like on live. It's like as if you're going on live TV. Imagine being on Saturday Night Live and they're like, you're on live TV. And someone's like, I've been experiencing like a lot of like emotional challenges lately. And I really needed to reflect on that. And they're just like, whoa, this is live. Whoa, you can't talk about like your actual emotions and what you're going through. That is not what we're setting this up for. Like, we want you to like, so that's why like I'm so grateful. This is like a platform where I can share that with like the world, the universe, like, and the media of the world. And like for me, it's like it's kind of like me taking back like what it is that I feel a lot of people aren't able to do on media, like, and the idea of like this being like just a platform, I guess, for me to be able to talk about mental health, talk about like the challenges I've been going through, talking about like how lack of sunlight for sure affects me. Like last winter was the worst winter I ever had, ever too. So it's like, that was one of the things that I was really able to like see. And also just like the being able to acknowledge that has helped me figure out like how I'm able to like prepare for this a little bit more, and just knowing what's going to be coming in the near future, and the month of December is not going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be. It didn't start very easily, so that's probably what's going to happen. And then January is usually a little bit like New Year and that kind of stuff. But also like going into February, I also find that because of the New Year's resolution drop off and people aren't able to like honor that, that's one of the biggest challenges around there too. So we'll see how it all goes. Like I'd mentioned before, I'm gonna randomly choose a poem from in April and kind of see where that happens. So I'm just gonna, this is what I usually do. I just put in like National Poetry Month into my computer, and like the first one that like I really, okay, this one, I feel this one, number 12. Okay, here we go. Well, this one's about family. So, what? See, I'm telling you, every single time, I'm talking about family this entire time, and look at this. This is literally about family. How is that? Okay, this is just like always so serendipitous in this way. This is okay, let's do this. Coping capable to deal. Finding the right path can be daunting. Positivity flaunting, instead recenter. Home base, erase, resets, overwhelm. Grabbing helm, take control. Sometimes I lose myself. I let go of the reins. This kingdom needs command, collective creation connecting. I lean on my community, floating, life raft at sea, open to support, put in motion, riding out currents, surfing the waves, movement of water impacted by the moon, symbiotic relationship, sun, earth, moon, enlightening the load, completely worth the wait. As the family's challenges continue to arise, pained prize, emotional pains, guilt, fear arise, my responsibilities become my responsibility. Be the home my community provided at this time. Everything I've learned will assist when the time comes. The solutions have all passed, and all that matters is love. Frenetic stress pairs with beautiful progress. These steps brought to the past generations, interpersonal relationship, the bridges laid out, safety offered can finally provide the strength we have sought. I peek into the future. It will not be easy, but I'm listening to what will be best for the whole family. My needs secondary, primary, fortunately, the Chan family dynasty. Yo, that literally is about my family. Like when this was actually happening in April, and there was like family drama and challenges and like people arguing and like all this stuff. And then I wrote this poem about like finding that center and being someone that is a resource for whoever in the family needs me. Whatever side, whatever it is that they're like, whatever was going on, like they would be able to reach out to me, and I was like ready for that. And I was like channeling like my grandparents and knowing like how both of them like loved and both of them cared and like both of them like opened themselves to like love. Like that to me was like so amazing to be able to like, I can't believe like out of all of them, I just literally told all these stories about my family. And like that's perfect too, because I was working on this poem about my grandfather earlier today too with Sova. So preparing for the slam on Saturday. So it's amazing. I'm gonna end up sharing that, but just a really quick comment about other things inside of this poem that I just read. It was crazy to see like the idea of my responsibilities become my responsibility. So the response of something is I've spoken to this about this a lot with Natalie, my therapist, a lot about this is we talk about the idea of instead of reacting, we're responding. So that becomes our responsibility when we actually have like worked on our self-growth so much, our self-love so much, and like being able to be better for our community and people around us. Then that becomes your responsibility to be able to step up in the moment and put your emotions as like not like full, like to the in the back burner, but you put them aside instead of like the whole overall group that needs to be like acknowledged. And then you still find the perfect time to be able to acknowledge, like share what it is that you're experiencing and how it is that the rest of them are able to support you. But you are working on yourself in that way to be that like grounded, connected like source, you know? And I spoke about this a little bit yesterday too, the idea of like the tree and the balance like beams on the tree and how I wanted the trunk to be like in when you have the balance, there's like that middle like part, the base, right? And that instead is like the tree, the roots that are going into like our past and to our future in that way. And so that's like part of it. It's like, if you think about it this way, the roots are actually like going into like our past, and that's like the intergenerational connection to like our grandparents and the generations before us. And then like the trunk is like the present, right? And then the leaves and everything that's growing out, that's like our future, right? So that's like kind of how I look at it. And it's I think that I might have heard that somewhere, so don't quote me that that was specifically mine. But yeah, it always inspires me to the idea of like whenever I'm going through a lot of challenges to like really like go into the roots and like, you know, see beyond what's on the surface in that way as well too. And that's been one of the most powerful things, is to understand the responsibilities is my responsibilities, like the abilities to respond. So instead of reacting and like taking things personally and being so emotional, it's like, what is that experience? Like what's happening right now, and then how am I able to respond? And sometimes all I do, my response is, I'm gonna need some time to like process all of this. Like I appreciate you sharing and like telling me what it is that you felt, because a lot of times one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, especially in relationships, was I always would be like, they would tell me how something affected them, and then immediately I would be like, I didn't mean to do that, like, oh, and I would like try and make it about myself. But it's like they're telling me what it is that they're experiencing. That is an honor that they trust me enough to be able to tell me like their truth. Like how much more authentic do we want people to be? And then once they open themselves up to this like beautiful, like open flower of like, please like accept what it is. It's like that in itself, it's like I'm acknowledging what it is that you're saying, and like I'm like reacting in a certain way right now, and I want to be able to respond properly to like this openness that you have. And then instead of like reacting to what it is that I'm experiencing, then I also can embrace them or share with them or thank them and give appreciation that like they trust me enough to be able to be candid with me, be authentic with me, and like that's what I want with my relationships, with my friendships, with the loves in my life, with my family. Like that's what I'm working towards consistently. I'm doing my best to become that. I'm doing my best to like learn how to be that, you know? So let's like keep like rolling that and like talking about this stuff, because that's what's going to help us become more authentic and more like much stronger in those moments when shit happens. It's like all of the work that you do on yourself privately, like in these moments that come up, like if you think about it, some of the lovers that you have, or like the friends that you have, like they're like flashes in your life. They like, you have like five actual like deep moments with them ever. So it's like I don't want to sacrifice those to be going into my ego and like, you know, just pure like trauma based reactions and stuff like that. Like I want to be able to work on that in my own time as well, and then share that part of myself and be like, this is really triggering to me, or like this is my experience now. But being able to be strong enough to be able to like step forward into that light with this person who's also sharing. It might be a dark thing, but like we're stepping into light to be able to like highlight the things that we're experiencing. Like that to me means everything. That's what I want. I want these authentic connections and to open up in this way. So after this, like I got to share this poem about my gongong, my grandfather. Like this man was like my hero, yo. This is like so powerful to like think about it. This like today is so about family. Like I can't believe like out of today I just talked about this poem with yeah, it just means everything that I get to like share this with you guys as well. So it's really powerful to be able to know that like I wrote this in 2013, and I had my grandfather passed in 2007, but I actually wasn't able to honor him at all, because at his funeral I did speak and stuff like that, and that story is like so intense. Like that's how I actually ended up on stage, like for the first time, was because of my gong passing. So in 2007, and he had 13 grandkids, 5 daughters. He had like so many friends that came to Peacock Restaurant in Athens, Ontario. Like he had so many friends and family members, and nobody was going to say anything at his funeral. And that hurt me so much. And it was only like a couple years ago that I realized the reason was it's not because like they didn't have anything to say, which is what I assumed at first, which I was like, that's crazy. It was because a lot of them were nervous to do public speaking. And that actually was something that pushed me. I was like, the Chinese community it's very common that people don't want to express their emotions. People don't want to open themselves up because it's so vulnerable. It's so like painful to like share these things, especially at a funeral, right? So then my mom actually asked me if I would want to do that. And I stepped forward and I actually like did it. And I'm so glad that she was there to support me. I actually wrote the second part in Cantonese from her help. So I actually wrote in English, and then she helped me translate it into Cantonese as well. And so yeah, to actually be at the funeral, and they ended up calling my name, and I'm going up and I'm like sweating, and I'm like so worried. I'm like, what the hell? This is so crazy. Like, I can't believe like I'm coming up here and I like speak and I like share this and like open like my heart as much as I can, you know, just honoring this man that like he meant so much to me. Like when I was 4 and 5 years old, I lived with him, and we just always had fun. Like he would just be playing cards, and like I remember like we'd be playing cards in the back, and my grandma would be like helping people out in front and stuff like that, and then she'd be like come back, and my gong was needing to like go and fry some stuff up and like get some orders done and stuff like that, and then she's like, come on, like why are you fooling around? And he'd keep playing with me until we were done. And then he'd go there and he'd finish the order as well. Then my grandma came and she'd see all the orders. She's like, oh, you know, and she'd like go out, and then she would come back in and she would be in a huff. And then my gong would like whisper to me, he's like, hey, go give your papa a hug. She really needs it right now. So I like run over to her and I like pull on her like shirt or like, you know, her bib thing. And then she's like, she kind of bent down, and then I wrapped my arms around her and I'm like hugging her, and I'm like, oh, I love you, you know? And then it was just like so sweet, and I'm like hugging her. I'm like probably 4 at this time, right? So I'm tiny human. And then she's like resisting at first. She's like, I got so much stuff to do. And then she like finally gave in. And then my gong was in the back, and he's like, yeah, what? Yeah, you're doing it. What? Like, you're doing it. You're giving her love, you know? So that's what it's all about, you know. He was such a good person. So then it's like, for me, it was like such an honor. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm finally able to like give this speech at his funeral. And then while I was like finished, I was like, wow, I like did such a great job. So I like went to go like off the stage. I'm like leaving the stage, and then my mom stands up and is like, don't forget to do it in Cantonese too. I was like, what? I had to go back and I was like crying already, right? I cried onto the sheet. So I'm looking on the sheet and it's like all like blurred out, and like I was doing it in like pronunciations on the page as well too. And then so she ended up I ended up getting off, and then one of the aunts came up to me and she was just like, wow, you did such a good job with your speech, and it was so great you tried to speak in Cantonese too. It was like such a burn, and I was like, oh my god. Yeah, I struggled on that Cantonese part for sure. That was like dishonor a little bit, but it was all good. It came around. I was super grateful for that. And then after that, like a month later, I'd actually been writing comedy for about a year and a bit privately. And then I ended up doing my first stand-up comedy set like a week later. It was like, a month later. I called into Yuck Yucks, and I got my cousin to actually come with me. And that must have been trippy for him. He saw me do a speech at my Gongong's funeral, and then right after, like a month later, he sees me at Yuck Yucks doing stand-up comedy. I actually wore like a rice hat, and then like I didn't even end up writing jokes. I just went and I riffed and like made fun of audience members and like talked about random stuff. Definitely talked a lot about being Asian at that time, which is crazy. I didn't even write anything. It was crazy. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's real. That's what happened. And then I crushed. And then it was like the second time that I went and did a set. I did. It was crazy. It was a racist time. I know. it was the rice patty hats, like the really big ones that white guys wear when they go party in Asia, like those ones. I wore one of those. I thought it was like they never seen an Asian person wearing it in Canada, really, because it's like. So I was like, I did that for 2 sets, and like after the second set, this is crazy. This is the craziest part. After the second set, Mark Breslin from Yuck Yucks came up to me and was like, wow, I think you got it, kid, or whatever. And I was like, oh, thanks so much. And then the third time I went, I wrote so much stuff and I bombed so hard. Like after that, when he said that to me, I was like, I already solved comedy after my second set. It was so bad. This was like 2007. Very different time, right? They were a very different time. And like, it was crazy because my whole sets were all like about, like race. It was just such a crazy time, and I'm so glad that everything has changed now, that I don't have to keep doing that. That's like selling your soul for sure. It was so exhausting, like being like, hey, right, look different, right? It's like so exhausting. So, okay, so back to my Gong. So he inspired me. Like the idea that people weren't able to open themselves up and be honest and like share their hearts as human beings, like that was crazy to me, right? And then so it gave me the courage to do my first stand-up set after that. And then, but it was only 5 years later that I truly was able to process the emotions that I had towards him. And that was when I first started writing poetry and connecting to a lot of poets. One of them, big shout out to Britta B, was one of them who inspired me quite a lot. She's actually hosting the Human Rights Film Festival Poetry Slam that I was talking about earlier. And it was just amazing seeing how she was able to work through traumas and work through emotions and that kind of stuff through her poetry. So I'm actually going to share the poem that I wrote in 2013, and then this was edited in 2015, so that I was doing some slams then and stuff like that too. So this poem was about my gongong and how much I was asked to like be strong in it. No one sits you down for good news. Her face freshly wiped, smile placed proper, the mask she worked so hard to protect us from our own emotions. I sit up straight as she had taught me. Gong gong, hay chơi hổ cái làm nhân sick. Your grandfather is the greatest man I've ever met. She's shaking. I sit patiently awaiting the news of the incoming disaster, the show dog who must make his master proud. Boko,佢死咗啦，以後唔會返嚟. He's gone, and he's never coming back. Ticking time bomb explodes, I'm propelled out the door. For the first time ever, no words, this red-eye flight lost ticket lost. Ticking time bomb explodes, I'm propelled out the door. For the first time ever, no words, this red-eye flight lost ticket last minute, I am not ready. Grabbing my skateboard, I rip these streets, tears rapid, I am vapid, numb, pushing and pushing and pushing to not feel the tears rolling down my face. I wipe away visions of sitting by his side, nursing his crumbling castle. We thought we had more time before the tide hit our kingdom. Holding hands, we held on to the sand as long as we could. Still, 6 feet deep in the end. Days fade. Foggy dew drips from the tips of these leaves. Regulated events to prevent irregular heartbeats. Wholesome, open heart, is the literal translation of happy in Cantonese. My gong, my hero. He always taught me to find true happiness, you must open your heart. Good, the bad, the yin, the yang, the happy or sad, we must allow it all in. But I was trained to smile through the pain, to put on a face to save face. It's hard to beat this drum, let alone alone. Leave me alone. I still cover the dirt buried under these fingernails, the final nails on his coffin. We came together by picking up the pieces of our hearts wide open every year beyond the grave. He orchestrates a symphony of cherished family gatherings, his jade baton passed on, waving from the highest balcony of the kingdom. How far he came for us in his lifetime was only the beginning. The people we can inspire in our lifetime will keep his legacy living. Open hearts, forever giving. Yeah. It means so much that after all these years, I'm still able to share this piece, and it affects me and hits me a certain way. You know, it means a lot. And to all those people who have like lost people that were like super close to them and that meant everything to them, like, just definitely want to give acknowledgement to that. Like, their legacy continues on. Like every single day when I'm sharing, when I'm performing, when I'm creating, like, that's what it's all about, you know. Like it's like honoring them, like my grandparents giving me my voice. Like that was such an honor, like for them to trust in me, believe in me, and like that. Even at this point, after all these years, like all I want is like the best for my family, and I keep focusing on that because that's what they always wanted, and that's what they instilled in me. And like those couple years, like I actually lived with them when I was 4 and 5 years old. Craziest thing, this year the kids that I've been working with are, they're 3 and 6, and then they're 4 and 6, like just right in that same window of like age, you know, like, and just like how important it is to give that acknowledgement, give that love, and give that, like, you know, truth to them as well. You know, that age, you have to see that, you know, like that inner child that we always talk about, how like we need to acknowledge and like, you know, give credit to and that kind of stuff. These children are in their childhood, and like for us to take the time to like really listen to them, and that's so important. And even today, like I'm not gonna lie, I got like frustrated with one of the boys, and like the thing that got me out of it was he just kept like, you had to put an arrow between words that like rhymed. He would just put random ones and he'd be like finished, you know, and he would just like, you know, and it was just such a, I was getting frustrated, and like, and then this is like one of the things that like got me out of that frustration, you know, like is to like be reminded, you know, this is like a kid who's just like doing his best, and he's just having fun, and he's like being silly, and it's like thinking about myself then, and like as well as my inner child when I am just trying to like be bright and enjoy myself, and like people are trying to get me to do things, you know. So yeah, this is a big, like, I feel like this whole night, I guess, was a big honor to like my family. I'm so grateful for all like the efforts and energy that they've put into like coming over here, and like even the last couple of days my aunt brought like $100 worth of dim sum for me and my mom, because she's like, hey, what would you like to eat out of any meal that you can have, you know? And it's like, I want dim sum. That's what my mom said. And I was like, I want dim sum too, you know? So hopefully me, Velvet, and Annie, all of us can go for dim sum one day. That's what I want, you know? Like, thank you so much for coming out, Velvet and Annie. Like, it means a lot to me. And so right before I end up closing out today, I think that it's really important for any of you guys out there who have been thinking about their families and wanting to like reach out to them and connect to them, like definitely take the time to do it. Or even if not, like write about them or connect to them. What are the lessons that they want? What is their messages, and even the legacy of those who have passed on? Like they are still continuing to live, like even if they've passed. And I'll leave you with like this one last like beautiful moment, and it is like a little bit like intense. So if anybody who has had a past loved one, just letting you know, like there's a bit of a visual of like my grandmother, but when she had passed, and like they had called me to let me know that she had passed. I already knew. They didn't tell me. They just told me I had to go to the hospital. And I walked into the room and there was 20 people in that room. And I remember counting, and I think it was because I knew that I was going to be sharing this story, because there was an energy in there that was just like so powerful. And what was happening was that there was many people who were crying, but they were crying with their eyes closed. And you know, like when people say that, like when you're passing away, like you have like flashes of your entire life, like your entire life flashes before your eyes. What I actually think it was that it was all of us that were in that room with her. We were connecting to her and thinking about her and thinking about all the amazing stories that we had, like all the stories I was telling you about my grandmother earlier. I was thinking about those at that exact moment. And when she was resting, when she was there, like all of us were just having these images and visuals of like all of these amazing moments of her life and our life together. And that was the way in which she was able to, like, you know, into the afterlife or into whatever is going on. But this is her legacy. That's what's happening, you know, like that's what I feel. So for me, it was amazing. I looked around and everybody was just like sending her so much love and energy and care. And like, it just was so powerful to be in that room and to be able to experience that. And like, I opened my eyes and I just like see like so many of like my family members who just, she meant everything to them, you know, like multiple people thought that they were the favorites, you know, like that's same with my grandfather. Like I knew that I was the favorite, but like multiple people said the exact same thing. So it was just amazing to be able to be a part of that, even though it was very like solemn, of course, but just being able to have that type of reflection together. And that's what it was. It was like my whole family just reflecting on her life in that moment. And I know that she felt loved. Like that was so important for us. And we knew that she felt loved because we felt so much love from her. And that's what it was like. There was always so much support from her. There was always so much support from my gongong, and it just means everything to me to be able to be living in their house right now and just constantly acknowledging like how lucky I am to have that, you know. So I really appreciate you guys catching me tonight. I'm gonna be doing these vlogs every single night until the 25th, I believe. The Vlogmas is. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Do one thing for me as the night is ending for you guys. Take the time to just like, you know, really feel that like joy inside of yourself before you go into like slumber and sleeping, because that's what I feel like I've been thinking about right before I've been going to bed, and that has made my dreams like so much more uplifting for when I wake up in the morning. So all right, peace guys, love you guys so much. This is straight out of Toronto. Shout out to Jay White who gave me the shirt, but also it is I'm actually in Markham, but so see you guys later. Bye. And Annie, let's go on live right now. I'll see you soon. Okay, peace guys.